after discovering I was the true daughter of a wealthy family. I begged my parents to buy the impoverished boy next door, who suffered domestic abuse. He became my study companion during the days when my whole family scorned me for not measuring up to the fake daughter. Only he said, "Stella Lynn is wonderful." At 18, I confessed my feelings to him. He kissed my forehead. "I'm not worthy yet." I gave him money and resources, waiting bitterly for 7 years, only to wait until he achieved success and fame, and my mother set him up with the fake daughter. At the birthday banquet, I witnessed the two of them entwined under the moonlight. Luna Lynn asked him, "Who is better, me or Stella Lynn?" His answer echoed my family's. The moon in the sky and the mud on the ground cannot be compared. That night, I ran out and died in a car accident, reborn into this life. I want neither family affection nor love, yet they came to regret it. The first dance at my birthday banquet was shared by Luna Lynn and Aiden Shen. Susan Wei found an excuse to send me away. When I returned, I happened to see the two of them being surrounded like stars encircling the moon in the center of the dance floor, looking just like a prince and princess from a fairy tale. I tried to approach, but Susan Wei stopped me. "Don't disturb them." I looked at the woman before me, disappointment spreading through my heart. At first, when my mother offered to host a birthday banquet for me, I was delighted. During that time, she frequently called Aiden Chun to inquire about my preferences. I thought that after all these years, I, her daughter, had finally begun to find a place in her heart. Little did I know, she was merely creating opportunities for her adopted daughter to get closer to Aiden Shen. Under the pretext of preparing the banquet for me, Luna Lynn privately went with Aiden Chun to Bulgaria to select the most vibrant roses and to France to taste the richest red wine. Their relationship quickly warmed, seeing them chatting happily amidst the crowd. Susan Wei revealed a gratified smile. My heart turned cold. "Mom, have you considered my feelings?" She froze. I stared at her. "You know perfectly well that I like Aiden Shen." Susan Wei frowned. "But he doesn't like you. Why not let Luna have him?" I found it laughable. My Aiden is the one who loves me most in this world. He swore at 18 that he would achieve greatness and give me the best of everything. I believe in him. "Who told you he doesn't like me?" "Luna Lynn," I said coldly. Leo Lynn happened to pass by, giving me a haughty glance. "Does it need to be said? You've been fawning over Aiden Shin for years, giving him money and resources. Now that he's made something of himself, he only calls you a business partner. Plainly speaking, he's just not into you. You better know your place and stop causing trouble for my sister." Susan Wei shot him a light glare. "Watch your tone. She's your sister too." Then she patted my hand, soothingly. "Xiaofan, though you're not as good as Luna, you're still a Lin family heiress. Worried about not finding a husband? Mom will introduce you to someone more suitable later." Leo Lin sneered. "She's nowhere near my sister. You'd better not take her out and embarrass us." Susan Wei neither confirmed nor denied. I was furious. "I'm lacking? And whose fault is that?" It was Luna Lin's mother, who swapped me out for her daughter's perfect life. She's talented and worldly because while I was working odd jobs to survive, she was practicing piano, learning dance, and traveling the world. 17 years of disparity isn't easily bridged. Perhaps our commotion drew attention as people began gathering around. Father and Liam Lin were socializing in the crowd, their glances swept over, faces darkening ominously. Susan Wei quickly pulled me away from the banquet hall, displeased. "If you're emotional, you shouldn't be out here. Go, help Annie Wu prepare tea snacks in the kitchen. I remember you enjoy that." I let out a bitter laugh. I recalled how desperately I'd craved my family's love when first brought back, always trying to please through chores. But gradually, I finally understood. Blood ties couldn't outweigh 17 years of daily companionship. They are Luna Lin's family, not mine. A draft swept through the corridor. Despite the sweltering summer heat, it chilled me to the bone. I missed Aiden Shun. I wanted to find him, to tell him I didn't wish to stay here a moment longer. But after searching everywhere, there was no sign of him. It wasn't until I reached the back garden that I faintly heard that familiar voice. My nose stung with emotion, and I quickened my pace. A woman's delicate voice suddenly rang out. Between me and Stella Lynn, who is better? Instinctively, I hid in a corner. The bright moon hung high, illuminating the two figures in the pavilion clearly. Luna Lynn clung to Aiden Chen's neck, her eyes shimmering with emotion. Aiden, tell me quickly. Aiden Chen curled his lips, wrapping an arm around her waist. The moon in the sky and the mud on the ground cannot be compared. Luna Lynn smiled, rising on her toes to press a kiss to the corner of his mouth. Aiden Chen cupped the back of her head, leaning down to deepen the kiss with growing passion. Tears had unknowingly overflowed from my eyes. I felt like I was living as a joke. That night, I fled from this place, got into a car accident, and no one came to rescue me. The process of dying was long and agonizing. I could vividly feel the blood flowing out of my body, my vision gradually blurring. My phone lay quietly dropped beside me, no one searching for me, only the stars in the sky bidding me farewell. People say the Big Dipper can help the lost find their way home. As a child, I often got lost, but looking up at the stars, I never found the right direction. Looking back now, it's probably because I never truly had a place to return to. Without a home, how could there be a way back? Exhausted, I closed my eyes and made a wish. No more next life. When I discovered I had been reborn, I was surprisingly furious. Heaven never cared to listen to my wishes. I smashed everything in the room to pieces. When the well-dressed middle-aged couple found me, I was sitting amidst a pile of wreckage. They frowned and cautiously asked, "Are you Stella Zheng?" How laughable. I was back to being 17 again. On the day my birth parents found me, seeing my lack of response, the beautiful woman asked again, "Did something happen at home?" I snapped out of it, stood up, and replied flatly, "Nothing much. Just got robbed." The two of them glanced around. The low, damp house was so dilapidated it let in drafts. With no sense of security whatsoever, a trace of guilt surfaced on both their faces. I asked knowingly, "Are you looking for me?" Susan Wei, her eyes brimming with tears, came over and hugged me. "Mom has finally found you, just like in my past life. They told me I was the real daughter of the Lin family, switched at birth by the nanny. Half a year ago, they discovered the daughter at home wasn't theirs and, after much effort, finally tracked me down. Mom will take you home." Susan Wei took my hand and led me toward the door. In the bitter cold of deep winter, the warmth from her palm felt strangely piercing, almost painful. I subtly pulled my hand away. "I'll walk by myself." She glanced at me, about to say something, but was interrupted by noise from next door. Unbearable curses and the shattering of liquor bottles echoed intermittently. I knew it. 17-year-old Aiden Chen was being beaten again. I moved here 3 months ago. My adoptive parents wouldn't let me continue my studies and planned to sell me off to an old bachelor in the countryside. I ran away, drifting from one city to another. Only recently did I settle down in this urban village. Aiden Chen used to be from a wealthy family, but after his father's failed investments, his mother ran off with someone else. His father poured all his resentment onto him, beating or berating him constantly. My adoptive parents often beat me too, perhaps out of shared misery. I naturally felt a sense of closeness to him. Returning from work at night, I'd often see him reading under the dim glow of a street lamp. Once, I couldn't resist approaching to say hello, but he was aloof, not even sparing me a glance. I didn't leave. I just stood beside him, reading over his shoulder. Finally, he spoke, his tone like that of a stern scholar. "You're so young. Why aren't you in school?" I told him my story. He showed no sympathy. Only later, when I lingered by his side again, he would ask if I understood the book's content and if I needed him to teach me. We gradually grew familiar. Aiden Chen was my first friend. Even now, recalling those distant memories, my heart still aches uncontrollably. I followed Richard Lin and Susan Wei out of the house. I saw Aiden Chen pushed out the door by his father, covered in blood, and collapsing into the snow. The scene back then was exactly the same as now. In my past life, I asked him if he wanted to leave with me. After getting his agreement, I shamelessly begged my parents to buy him from his alcoholic father. In this life, I never glanced his way again. I returned to the Lin family. When I first stepped into this villa in my past life, my heart was full of joy. I never imagined that, in the future, my biological parents would constantly compare me to the fake daughter, believing I fell short in looks, character, and talent. He even said to me, if I had known it would come to this, I would rather not have brought you back. My brother Liam Lin, always composed and fair-minded, would inexplicably side with and defend the fake daughter whenever he saw her tears, without even asking for the facts. Then he would reproach me, must you insist on making the whole family miserable? As for Leo Lin, needless to say, he looked down on me for growing up in the streets. He declared that he only acknowledged Luna Lin as his elder sister. He even questioned our parents for her sake. How can 17 years of shared daily life be outweighed by mere blood ties? In the Lin family, I was neither appreciated, trusted, nor ever loved. I detested this place, yet I returned anyway. Who would turn their back on money? I had no reason to suffer outside while Luna Lin reaped all the benefits. I wanted to make everyone unhappy. That would make me happy. The first reunion dinner was lavish, with the table laden with exquisite dishes. Susan Wei introduced, with a beaming smile. Luna specially invited a Michelin 3-star French chef home for you. She has the most discerning taste. Whatever she picks is bound to be the best. I glanced at Luna Lin sitting across from me. She smiled gently at me. Welcome home, younger sister. If not for being reborn, I wouldn't have known that she began scheming against me from our very first meeting. French cuisine places the utmost importance on table manners. In my past life, I made constant blunders like a clown, growing more panicked with each mistake. It was a stark contrast to Luna Lin's poised and graceful demeanor. Though the Lin family tried hard to act unfazed, their furrowed brows betrayed their disdain. Leo Lin was the most direct, stating, I've lost my appetite. He left the table early, his face full of disgust. Truth be told, I had already lost right here. But back then, blinded by my circumstances, the less I was liked, the more I desperately tried to please. In the end, everyone could look down on me with arrogance. Younger sister, you've never tasted these before, have you? Luna's voice pulled me back to reality. Looking at her face now, the disguise isn't actually that clever. Her eyes are blatantly filled with superiority. This is indeed the best meal I've had in my 17 years. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, half smiling. Back at your place, I could only eat spoiled food. If the work wasn't done well, not only would I go hungry, but I'd also get a beating. I never dared to imagine that one day I'd get to eat like this. Luna Lin's smile froze on her face. The others didn't look too pleased either. The usually reticent Mr. Lin spoke up. You've suffered. From now on, just tell the chef whatever you'd like to eat. Luna, Lin furrowed her delicate brows, putting on a tearful expression. It's all my fault. Leo Lin grew anxious. What does it have to do with you? You've never even met that couple. I cut in. Can't say it's unrelated. After all, her mom swapped me out for her sake. Her dad, afraid the truth would come out, even thought about strangling me. Luna Lin covered her mouth, teardrops as big as beans sliding down her cheeks. Leo Lin shot me a glare. Aren't you perfectly fine now? Susan Wei's heart softened too, turning to persuade me. Stella, Wan Yu is already pitiable enough, with such malicious parents. Please say less. I propped my chin, utterly baffled. What is there to pity about her? Didn't her parents do all this out of love for her? I've suffered all these years for nothing. Yet not only have you not resented her, you've treated her like a treasure. Isn't she the luckiest one of all? Liam Lin couldn't take it anymore, his face cold. Stella Zheng, you've gone too far. Before I could even glance over and speak, Mr. Lin cut in. Let's not bring up the past anymore. I wasn't surprised. After all, the Lin family excels at telling the child caught in the rain. You need to be sensible, understanding, and well behaved. I lowered my gaze, smiling bitterly. I thought my name was Lynn Stella now. Turns out it's not. The meal left everyone feeling like they were sitting on pins and needles. I felt much better, living a second life. I refused to suffer alone. Richard Lin changed my name the very next day, 2 weeks earlier than in my previous life. My identity was made public, But to protect Luna Lynn, they only disclosed an accidental baby swap, concealing her mother's malicious exchange. Luna Lynn remained with the Lynn family. Her birthday is one day before mine. She is the eldest miss of the Lynn family, and I am the second miss. Mr. and Mrs. Lynn publicly declared they would treat both children equally from then on. They specifically named me Stella Lynn, symbolizing that Luna and I would share a deep sisterly bond, like the moon and stars accompanying and illuminating each other. Not long after, I was enrolled in the best private high school in the area. Stepping back into this campus, memories drifted back from every familiar corner, unwashed even by the passage of life and death. My best and worst moments all happen here. In my past life, my schooling from elementary to high school was intermittent, with a weak foundation. After entering this elite school, my grades were at the bottom. Soon after, a dead mouse was found in Luna Lynn's desk, and she was doused with cold water in the restroom. She was always well liked. The only one with any reason to bully her seemed to be me, because I envied her for being better than me and resented her for taking over my life. Everyone pitted Luna Lynn for her innocence and began to isolate me. Even the teachers lectured me, saying to forgive is divine. The Lynn family never believed me from start to finish. In their eyes, I was foolish and wicked, unworthy of love. I felt inferior, self-loathing, and self-destructive. Back then, Aiden Chun was my only light. He patiently helped me catch up on the lessons I'd missed. When everyone else despised me, he stood firmly by my side, telling me, Stella Lynn is wonderful. My barren heart was slowly filled with flowers by him. I was willing to give everything to build a home of our own with him. I never imagined that Aiden Chin would deceive me. Standing in the sun-drenched campus, reminiscing about the past, I couldn't hold back my tears. Someone handed me a tissue. I turned my head and numbly accepted it. The person said nothing, brushing past me and leaving only a tall, straight-backed silhouette. I heard someone call out to him, Ryan Sue. My heart skipped a beat. In my past life, few people had shown me kindness. Besides Aiden Chun, Ryan Sue's mother was one of them. Sadly, good people don't always get the rewards they deserve. Not long after Ryan graduated from university, his entire family perished in a shipwreck. I stared in the direction the young man had gone, my thoughts in turmoil. Luna Lynn walked past me with a cheerful smile. Younger sister, staring at boys like that will make people laugh at you. You know, I snapped back to reality and shot her a glare. Mind your own business. And stop calling me younger sister. It's disgusting. She bit her lip, looking pitiful. Do you really hate me that much? I didn't hesitate. Yes. Luna's eyes reddened instantly, tears tracing delicate paths down her lovely face, making her look utterly vulnerable. In my past life, I'd been fooled by this innocent act of hers. I'd truly believed she wanted to be sisters with me. Time and again, I fell into her traps, becoming her perfect contrast. What are you pretending for? You hate me too, don't you? I smirked. She gave me a strange look, seemingly surprised her acting had no effect. Seeing my cold expression unchanged, she dropped her facade, lifted her chin, and brushed past me. We'll see about that. With the foundation from my past life, I quickly adapted to high school this time. I outscored Luna Lynn on the very first monthly exam. For the first time in 2 lifetimes, I received praise from my parents. They called me clever, saying I was truly a child of the Lynn family. Luna Lynn seemed to sense the threat, her gaze toward me growing more venomous. Not long after, rumors of her being bullied spread through the school. Her desk was scribbled with insults, and a dead mouse was found in her drawer. Classmates whispered and speculated. One day, she was drenched with water in the restroom. I was the only other person there. Case closed. The culprit could only be me. Leo Lynn worried she might catch a cold and insisted on taking her to the hospital. Mr. and Mrs. Lynn arrived quickly. Even Liam Lynn, who was studying abroad with a 12-hour time difference, joined via a long-distance video call. Luna Lynn sobbed. I was wrong. I shouldn't have stayed with the Lynn family. Susan Wei wiped her tears tenderly. Why would you say such a thing, Luna? Leo Lynn shot me a glare and said, actually, elder sister has been bullied at school for a while, but she begged me to keep it quiet, saying she didn't want to affect family relationships. Who knew Stella Lynn would go this far? Several pairs of eyes turned toward me in unison. I replied indifferently, before accusing me. Show some evidence. Leo Lynn gritted his teeth. There were only 2 of you in the restroom today. Are you saying my sister splashed herself? I nodded. If I wanted to splash her, I wouldn't have used such clean water. Infuriated by my remark, he pulled out his phone and showed several photos of vulgar words scribbled on Luna Lynn's desk. Every word cursed her for usurping another's place, calling her a shameless bitch. I have to admit, it's somewhat clever. The handwriting does resemble mine a bit. How dare you claim you didn't write this? Luna Lynn began to sob at just the right moment. I thought if I endured it, once younger sister vented her anger, she would let me be. Her eyes were red and swollen, making her look utterly pitiful. Susan Wei pulled her into an embrace, looking at me with deep disappointment. And I actually thought you were a good kid not long ago. I curled my lips into a faint smile. Can we really be sure it was me who did this? She frowned angrily. You won't even admit it after doing wrong. I've watched Luna grow up. I know her character best. She wouldn't lie. Richard Lynn's face darkened. Apologize to your elder sister. Watching the scene, I felt neither sorrow nor joy inside. Slowly, I took out my phone from my pocket and played a recording. First came my questioning voice. What's wrong with you? Followed immediately by the sound of water being splashed. Luna, Lynn smiled cheerfully. You're bullying me. Me, the ploy of self. Injury to win sympathy. Is that it? Luna Lynn didn't deny it. Me, so, those previous incidents were also staged by you? Her, you better think about how to apologize to me later. Me, do you think everyone is a fool who'll believe whatever you say? Her, why don't we test that? The surroundings fell into a terrifying silence in an instant. Leo Lynn was the first to speak. What trick did you pull? Sometimes I really suspect his brain is broken. Still don't believe it? I recall her desk was replaced with a new one. The old one's in the storage room. It wouldn't be hard to have someone verify the handwriting, right? Luna Lynn's face turned deathly pale. Leo Lynn lost his confidence, but stubbornly insisted. My sister must have had a good reason for doing this. Susan Wei snapped back to reality, took her precious daughter's hand, and pleaded with earnest eyes. Luna, why on earth did you do it? Luna, Lynn trembled all over, like a frightened rabbit. I was afraid you'd abandon me. My younger sister hates me so much. She'll definitely find a way to drive me out. Her voice trembled pitifully. I don't want to leave you all, Richard Lynn said sternly. That still doesn't justify this behavior. Luna Lynn froze, probably never expecting her father to speak to her in a scolding tone one day. She bit her lip hard, looking pitifully at Mrs. Lynn with tears shimmering in her eyes. Seeing this, Susan Wei hurried forward to comfort her. It's just sibling rivalry. Not a big deal. I think we should let it go. Ultimately, it's our fault as parents. After Xiaofan came home, we neglected Luna's feelings. The person in the hospital bed sneezed. The doctor said she caught a chill and was running a fever. Mrs. Lynn's heart ached even more, her eyes reddening, unable to bear it. Mr. Lynn turned to lecture me. You're at fault too. You could have explained everything clearly from the start, but instead you let things escalate, waiting to see Luna humiliated. Where did you learn such malicious intentions? I froze, a bitter taste spreading through my entire body. Catching my breath, I spoke with a hint of self-mockery. I just wanted to prove her wrong. I believe my parents wouldn't blindly label me as a bad kid. The man across from me was left speechless. A nurse came in with medicine, and he visibly relaxed, asking about his adopted daughter's condition. Susan Wei didn't dare look at me either, chiming in to ask about recovery precautions. After they left, Richard Lynn finally spoke. Let's drop today's matter and never bring it up again. I let out a bitter laugh. But the whole school's spreading rumors that I bullied her. He replied, innocence needs no defense. Mrs. Lynn joined in. Yes, as long as you 2 sisters get along well from now on, no one will misunderstand anymore. Mom knows you're a magnanimous child. I curl my lips into a cold smile, feigning remorse. Sorry about that. I got roasted so badly by classmates earlier that I couldn't help posting the recording in the group chat. After Luna Lynn's story spread through the school, her pure and kind persona crumbled. She had a pretty rough time for a good while after that, but people are always forgetful. A few months later, the incident gradually faded from everyone's memory. Instead, to give her adopted daughter a strong sense of security, Mrs. Lynn became increasingly indulgent toward her. Summer arrived, and Luna Lynn and I were about to turn 18. Susan Wei planned to host a birthday banquet for us to celebrate together. Scheduled on Luna Lynn's birthday, she explained to me, "Elder sister was born a day earlier than you. If we set it on your day, her birthday would be missed." I didn't react much. Luna Lynn, however, looked full of apprehension. No, how can we let younger sister accommodate me? After the bullying incident, she became increasingly well-behaved and sensible in front of her parents. Susan Wei held her hand and said gently, "How can you call it accommodation? This is the most reasonable arrangement." Luna Lynn glanced at me cautiously. I shrugged. "If you're so troubled, we can switch to my day instead." She lowered her head, her hands nervously twisting the hem of her clothes. Seeing her like this, Susan Wei's heart ached terribly, and she immediately gave her reassurance. "This matter is up to me to decide. When did you become so distant? In the past, you would have already started acting spoiled with me, making requests for the banquet." Luna Lynn raised her head, her eyes already red. "I'm just an adopted daughter. Being able to stay in the family is already more than enough happiness for me. I dare not ask for anything else." Mrs. Lynn frowned even more deeply. "I've told you many times. You and Xiaofan are both my daughters, no different from each other. No one will, and no one can, drive you away. This matter is settled." Luna Lynn sniffled. "But with this arrangement, people will surely say I've taken what belongs to my younger sister." Susan Wei said angrily, "What nonsense about taking? Let's see who dares say such a thing. I'm going to make a grand celebration for you, so everyone knows you're the cherished jewel of the Lin family, and no one can look down on you." Luna Lynn threw herself into her arms, tears welling in her eyes, while glancing at me from the corner of her eye, a smug smile curling her lips. Such psychological attacks no longer affect me. I had no interest in watching their mother-daughter affection performance. I returned to my room alone to select the gown for the banquet. Susan Wei had designers deliver many options. I chose one with an open, back design, standing before the mirror. I turned slightly, the crisscrossing scars on my back clearly visible. The Zhengs loved to beat me. Displeased, they'd whip me with canes, burn me with cigarettes, sometimes even use red, hot fire tongs. They were clever too, leaving marks where clothing would conceal them. It minimized complications. I stared at the worst burns, the skin now blackened like fungal patches spreading across my body. Disgusting, ugly. I reached to touch them. The moment my fingertips made contact, the pain buried in memory awoke. Trembling, I smiled with satisfaction. Just wait. I will carry these wounds they gifted me to celebrate Luna Lynn's 18th birthday. Surely this birthday banquet will leave her with an unforgettable memory for life. Many guests attended the banquet that day. Susan Wei had invited everyone she possibly could. Luna Lynn was beautifully dressed in a white princess gown, with a diamond tiara sparkling brilliantly atop her head. It was a birthday gift from Mr. and Mrs. Lynn, specially commissioned from a designer using the finest gemstones. A piece of considerable value. I received an identical one. Unfortunately, it didn't match my gown at all. Throughout the evening, Susan Wei held Luna Lynn's hand as they moved among the guests, with Mr. Lynn and their two sons accompanying them. It was a harmonious scene. So harmonious that adding one more person would have made it feel crowded. No one was foolish. Seeing the Lin family's attitude toward Luna Lynn, they naturally dared not slight her. Each came forward to offer congratulations. I stood in the corner, watching through the crowd as the girl who had taken my place in life was surrounded by my family at the center, radiant with smiles, cherished and adored. The banquet reached its climax. The lights dimmed as a piano melody began to play. Leo Lynn wheeled out an exquisitely decorated floral cake. Everyone sang happy birthday. Luna Lynn blew out the candles and made a wish. The lights came back on. To showcase that Luna Lynn and I had let bygones be bygones, Susan Way specifically arranged for us to cut the cake together. Noticing I wasn't by her side, she finally started looking for me. Her gaze swept the room before finally landing on me. Xingfan, come up here, she beckoned. I stepped forward, ascended the stage, and stood beside Luna Lynn. Her skin was fairer than snow, poised and graceful like a noble, beautiful swan. In contrast, malnourished since childhood, I was petite and sallow, though half a year back with the Lynn family had brought some color to my cheeks. I still paled next to Luna, raised in luxury from birth. Whispers circulated among the crowd. I heard it clearly. They were saying that standing next to Luna Lynn, her demeanor was more like that of a wealthy family's daughter. I had been crushed by such words countless times before, shamed and insecure to the point of wanting to vanish. But now, I didn't mind letting the contrast become even more stark. Luna Lynn smiled sweetly and handed me the cake. Cutting knife. Younger sister, let's do it together. I raised my hand, and the shawl on my shoulders slipped off unintentionally, revealing the gruesome scars on my back. Someone gasped in shock, like a discordant note suddenly appearing in a beautiful melody. The entire rhythm of the piece fell into disarray. The Lynn family members all paled. Susan Way looked horrified and blurted out, "Who did this to you?" I glanced back at the scars and said calmly, "My adoptive parents." The surroundings fell silent in an instant. Susan Way flusteredly picked up the shawl for me. "You never mentioned this before." I put on a hurt expression. "I said it on the very first day I came home. Luna Lynn's parents often beat me. It's just that you wanted me to be good sisters with her and didn't want to hear it." Upon hearing this, Luna Lynn's tears fell like rain. "I'm sorry. It's all my fault." Mrs. Lynn's attention was instantly captured, and she quickly turned to comfort her. The shawl that had just been draped over my shoulders slipped to the floor once more. Leo Lynn said with mild anger, "Such a fine day, and you have to bring such gloom." I stood there numbly, staring at Luna Lynn. "If you truly feel guilty, do us all a favor and stop crying." Someone who sympathized with my plight spoke up indignantly. "Exactly. Anyone would think you're the one who suffered some great injustice, when clearly Stella Lynn is the one who's had it worst, like a stone tossed into a pond." The criticism rippled out one after another. If it were me, I wouldn't even have the face to stay in this family. Not long ago, she even faked being bullied. Her heart's as dark as her parents. I remember that incident too. At first, I didn't believe she'd do such a thing, but now it seems it's all in the genes. Most of those speaking were our schoolmates. Young people are easily swayed by emotions, and with everyone chiming in, Luna Lynn's face turned pale then flushed with anger. Even some wealthy socialites, never ones to shy away from drama, made snide remarks directly to Mr. and Mrs. Lynn. "You two truly have hearts of saints. While others treat your own daughter like dirt and abuse her at will, you coddle their daughter like a precious jewel. Such magnanimity is something I could never match." Susan Way's expression grew increasingly grim. Richard Lynn stood by her side and calmly responded, "The sins of the parents should not be visited upon the children. Today is the child's birthday. Let's not bring up these unpleasant matters." He gave a meaningful glance. Understanding his cue, Susan Way hurried over and said to me, "You must be tired. Let me take you back to your room to rest." "That won't do. I haven't had my fill of the excitement yet." I raised my voice. "Why should I go back? The party isn't over." She was left speechless. Leo Lynn grabbed my wrist and whispered sharply in my ear, "Stella Lynn, are you out of your mind? What good does this do for you? I couldn't care less if it benefits me. I'm just sick in the head. A venomous serpent coils in my heart. I can't stand seeing Luna Lynn live comfortably. I want her to be despised and scorned, to suffer every hardship I've endured. Only then will I begin to heal." His grip tightened as Leo Lynn dragged me forward forcefully. Just as I was about to erupt, someone stepped in our path. their voice clear and soothing like a spring breeze. "Might I have the honor of this dance?" Ryan Sue extended his hand toward me. I looked at him. Our eyes met, understanding passing wordlessly between us. He was helping me. I placed my hand in his palm. "I'd be delighted." Leo Lin tried to protest, but Liam Lin stopped him. Ryan Sue led me to the center of the dance floor. Glancing at the shawl I discarded nearby, he asked, "Do you not need that anymore?" I smiled and countered, "Does this look so awful?" He shook his head, his starlit eyes gleaming brightly under the lights. "The ugliness belongs to those who hurt you." That night, I laid these hideous scars bare for all to see. In my past life, I desperately hid them, even secretly undergoing scar removal surgery, thinking fewer flaws might earn me a little more love. Only later did I realize how terribly wrong I was. The growing murmurs in the crowd frightened Luna Lin into making excuses and retreating to her room. The banquet ended early. I expected a storm to await me once everyone had left. Yet the Lin household was eerily quiet. No one dared speak to me. Even eye contact was quickly averted. As if I were a man-eating beast. Amused, I deliberately lingered in their presence. The silent air thickened with awkwardness, suffocating and unbearable. Once I'd had my fill, I bid them good night and retired to my room. Walking to the second floor, I heard Susan wayside downstairs. Her voice was hushed. That child truly came back to collect a debt. Richard Lin coughed. The other party instantly fell silent. I closed the door and sat alone in the darkness, my turbulent emotions gradually settling into stillness. After a very long time, a knock suddenly sounded at the door. "Xiao Fan, are you asleep?" I hadn't expected Liam Lin to come looking for me. After all, neither in my past life nor this one were we particularly close. I opened the door, and he handed me a gift box, a birthday present. I replied bluntly, "Today isn't my birthday." He smiled awkwardly and said plainly, "Let's talk, little brother." Now, that was something new. He referred to himself as my older brother. I didn't send him away. He placed the gift in my room and got straight to the point. "Why did you ruin today's birthday banquet?" I understood. So, he really came to demand an explanation. He frowned and explained gently, "That's not what I meant. You've suffered a lot, and I can understand the resentment and need to vent. But why not communicate properly with the family? We could find a better solution." I looked into his eyes. "What better solution? Would you send that couple to prison for me?" He hesitated. "After all, they are Luna's parents. A criminal record could affect her future." I let out a cold laugh. This excuse is exactly the same as in my past life. How ridiculous. The biggest obstacle to bringing my abusers to justice was actually my own family. They used their connections to bail those two out. No lawyer dared take my case. In the end, Ryan Sue's mother was the one who helped me. These memories surged up all at once, making it hard to breathe. I stood and walked to the balcony. Liam Lin followed. "We can compensate you in other ways." I asked again, "Then would you send Luna Lin away to make me happy?" He paused, then said, "She is innocent." I turned away, gazing at the distant scenery. The sky was pitch black. Nothing was visible. Taking a deep breath, I said coldly, "See, you won't do anything. You'll just urge me to let it go, because I'm never your priority." Liam Lin patiently continued reasoning with me. "Xiao Fan, don't be so extreme. You and Wanyue don't have to be opposed. We can treat you twice as well, making up for all the suffering you endured those years." I whipped my head around, furious. It's her who insists on opposing me. Have you all forgotten the self-staged bullying incident last time? The man across from me was startled into a long silence. Finally, he spoke. "I admit, last time, Mom and Dad were biased. I never knew before that Wanyue was the kind of girl who would play tricks." His eyes pained. "But after all, she's lived with us for 18 years. It's only natural Mom and Dad can't bear to let her go. Just give her one more chance. I promise you, if she dares do it again, I'll personally drive her away." I curved my lips. "Are you really willing to?" Liam Lin caught my sarcasm and said helplessly, "Xiao Fan, don't always assume the worst in people. Luna has already admitted her mistake and is doing her best to make up for it. I'll never show favoritism from now on. I'll be a good brother to you. I said coldly, but I don't like sharing. If you want to be my good brother, you can't be Luna's brother too. You choose. He frowned, his tone weary. Don't be so stubborn. I remained unmoved. He sighed and handed me a bank card, changing the subject. This is from Mom and Dad. There's $5 million in it. Mom said, all girls care about their looks. This should be enough to remove the scars on your body. I didn't refuse. After all, money is a very useful thing. Liam continued. They've forgiven you for what happened today. They really do care about you, but you're like a hedgehog, all prickly and hard to approach. Why not take a page from Luna's book? Act a little spoiled with your parents. Show some softness. Wouldn't that slowly build affection? I smiled bitterly to myself. It wasn't as if I hadn't tried. In my past life, I yearned so desperately for love that I took 99 steps toward them, yet they never took a single step toward me. I'd gathered enough disappointment. I truly don't have the courage to try again. I turned away. Please leave. I'm tired. His voice came from behind, tinged with deep resignation. Xiaofan, with a personality like yours, you'll only push everyone who cares about you further away. My heart trembled. I know I'm not likable. That much hasn't changed, in this life or the last. After all, a cactus can never be a flower. It can never be cradled gently in someone's hands. So I long ago stopped holding on to vain hopes. I don't need others to love me. Loving myself is enough. Seeing I wasn't responding, Liam Lin left, looking lost and disheartened. Alone on the balcony, I stood gazing at the starry sky, lost in thought. I'm not unhappy, but I don't feel as happy as I imagined I would be either. My phone suddenly chimed, sounding particularly jarring in the silent night. I tapped to open it. It was from Ryan Sue, whom I'd just added as a friend today. Captain Sue, happy 18th birthday. Stella Lynn. I checked the time. Exactly midnight. Not a second off. I replied, thank you, Captain Sue. Did I snag the first spot? Me, no need to compete. There won't be a second one anyway. After all, my birthday and the wishes meant for me were all merged into Luna Lynn's yesterday. After sending it, I felt a bit of regret. Talking like this must be such a mood killer. He clearly meant well. I wanted to recall the message. His reply came quickly. That's not necessarily true. Want to make a bet? Before I could respond, my phone suddenly started vibrating wildly. Notification tones rang out incessantly. People kept tagging me in the class group chat. Stella Lynn, happy birthday. May Stella Lynn be happy every day from now on. With everything going smoothly, may the birthday candlelight dispel the gloom for you and illuminate the path ahead. As if prearranged, the wishes appeared uniformly, flooding the entire screen. Holding my phone, tears escaped uncontrollably. How strange. I clearly hadn't been expecting anything at all. To be liked by others. Unlike my previous life. This lifetime, at 18, I received countless blessings. Warm words fluttered like butterflies, suddenly filling the emptiness of my heart. Being reborn is truly wonderful. For the first time, I felt this way. If the servant hadn't found that birthday card in the mailbox, my mood would have stayed beautiful all day. The sender left no name, but the familiar handwriting stirred a faint unease. Just as I thought, I saw Aiden Chin again. At the start of senior year, he was specially admitted due to his outstanding competition results and even became my classmate. Stella, long time no see. He greeted me. The boy's eyes were clear and pure, seemingly untouched by the shrewdness and calculation of adulthood. Gazing at him like this, my emotions were incredibly complex. I simply gave a slight nod, responding politely. He told me that after I left without a word, he had tried to find me. Later, when he learned I had been taken away by my biological parents and became a young lady from a wealthy family, he finally felt at ease. He never imagined we would meet again one day. Aiden Shin said, "This is fate." My reaction was indifferent. He was a smart person and could naturally see the change in me. Yet, he stubbornly tried to reconnect with me. He told me many things that had happened after I left, like how the street lamp we often used for light had broken, his father had drunkenly fallen into the lake and drowned, and a young couple had moved into my old house. In the past, when we were together, I was always the talkative one, and he was quiet. Now it was reversed. After persisting for a month, my attitude remained unchanged. He finally couldn't hold back and asked, "Did I do something to make you dislike me?" I couldn't explain it to him. I loved the him from my past life, and I also hated the him from my past life. Love and hate canceled each other out. In this life, it's better if we remain strangers. My tone was cold. Our statuses have changed. Different circles. No need to force a connection. Aiden Shin looked at me with shock and sorrow, his pale lips slowly pressing together, appearing broken and desolate. I turned to leave. He stopped me, forcing a smile. "It's all right. I'll just work hard to catch up to you." I found Aiden Shin increasingly hard to understand. He treated me even better. He would share his class notes, collections of common mistakes, and problem-solving approaches with me. He still enjoyed reading the same books as me, just like we used to under that street lamp in the urban village. He carefully maintained our relationship as if I were someone extremely important to him. Yet in this life, we've only known each other for a few months. Hardly enough time to form such deep feelings. Sometimes I wondered if he had been reborn too, but every time Luna Lin was mentioned, his confused expression didn't seem feigned. I could never quite figure him out. This often gave me a headache, so I simply started avoiding him. Fortunately, in this life, I've made many new friends. I get along well with all my classmates. Sometimes Ryan and Sue would come to find me too. After the birthday banquet, we gradually became familiar with each other. We ran into each other once at a bookstore during summer break, and even rescued an abandoned puppy together. It was a tiny, fluffy ball with snow, white fur all dirty, somewhat resembling the jelly bean I'd picked up in my previous life. Jelly Bean had a gentle temperament and was quite timid. But once, Luna Lin claimed it had bitten her, and Leo Lin flew into such a rage that he kicked it to death. I deeply regretted bringing Jelly Bean home back then. If it hadn't followed me, it might have lived longer. So this time, I didn't dare bring this little one back to the Lin household. Ryan Sue could tell I wanted to keep it and guessed I had difficulties. So he offered to look after it for me for a while. His family had a golden retriever named First Mate, so the two dogs could keep each other company. Feeling grateful, I took the initiative to cover all the dog food expenses. After a few back and forths, we became what you could call good friends. Richard Lin was a very pragmatic businessman. My grades consistently ranked in the top 3 of my grade, and people around me now viewed me in a more positive light. Now, I was also on good terms with the Sue family's young master. By Richard Lin's standards, I was considered a valuable daughter. His attitude toward me had noticeably softened quite a bit. Susan Wei would sometimes try to curry favor with me. When I was studying in my room, she would proactively prepare tonics and bring them in. But my responses were lukewarm, which made her feel discouraged. After a few attempts, she gave up and didn't dare disturb me in my room again. Liam Lin began trying to be a good older brother. He had graduated from university, and Richard Lin entrusted him with the core operations of the group. He became extremely busy, but every time he returned from a business trip, he remembered to bring me gifts. Given the attitudes of these three, Leo Lin didn't dare to act too recklessly toward me either. I enjoyed a period of relative peace and tranquility until Luna Lin staged a suicide attempt. After the birthday banquet, her reputation worsened due to her parents' actions. Facing relentless criticism at school, she couldn't bear it and often made excuses to skip classes, causing her grades to plummet. On the first day of winter break, Richard Lin received both our report cards and for the first time spoke harshly to Luna. He shook his head at her, voice dripping with disappointment. Indeed, not of the Lin bloodline, far inferior to Xingfan. Luna became utterly despondent, even skipping dinner. Susan Wei, worried she might go hungry, brought her a late night snack and discovered she had slit her wrists. The entire Lin family was terrified. They rushed her to the hospital immediately, though timely treatment saved her life. Seeing her pale, fragile face on the hospital bed, Susan Wei's heart shattered. For the first time, she argued with Richard Lin, accusing him of favoritism, coldness, and failing as a father. In the end, she broke down crying. This family was perfectly fine before. Wan Yue is obedient and sensible, always knows how to cheer me up. Ever since Xingfan came home, she and I have been living on edge every day. As she spoke, her emotions gradually unraveled. If I'd known it would be like this, I'd rather. Susan, Mom, before she could finish, Richard Lin and Liam Lin cut her off in unison. Susan Wei snapped back to reality, saw me standing nearby, and guilt flickered in her eyes. I didn't mean it like that, dear. I'm just not in a good mood. I replied with numb indifference. It's fine. It really is fine. I turned and walked out of the hospital room. A single tear silently trailed down. How strange. I clearly wasn't that upset. Leo Lin bumped into me head on, about to snap, but froze when he saw the tear stains on my face. He ruffled his hair irritably, his tone softening. If you're okay, maybe don't come by anymore. Sis Wan Yue probably doesn't want to see you. I didn't respond. Walking straight out of the hospital. Snow had begun to fall from the sky at some point. The cold wind whipping fiercely against me. Winter had come again. So cold. I tightened my coat and walked alone into the snow. Suddenly, a large umbrella shielded me from above. I turned my head and saw Aiden Shin gazing at me with deep concern in his eyes. Let me take you home. I refused outright. He insisted. It's on my way anyway. Aiden Shin told me the place where he tutors is near the Lin family's residence. Last night after class, he saw an ambulance leaving my home and followed it to the hospital. Worried something had happened to me. Luna Lin's situation has nothing to do with you. He looked at me, his eyes filled with profound tenderness. I detested that look. It gave the illusion that he deeply loved me. I let out a light laugh. Why do you care so much about me? Could it be that you like me? Yes, I heard him say. I jerked my head up, meeting his earnest gaze. How could Aiden Shin say such lies without blushing or his heart racing? I was furious. Do you think I'm easy to fool? Didn't you approach me just because I'm a Lin family daughter, thinking my status could help you rise and cross social classes? Truthfully, if he had been honest with me from the start, even if we'd just been friends, I would have been willing to help him. Why did he have to deceive my feelings so despicably? He was no different from the Lin family. They all looked down on me in their hearts. Aiden Chen frowned, his tone sorrowful. You've misunderstood. I didn't want to hear any more of these hypocritical words, and coldly said, Anyway, I don't like you. Please keep your distance from me from now on. After saying that, I hailed a cab and left on my own, leaving him standing alone in the snow. In the following days, the Lin family went to the hospital every day, especially Susan Wei, probably feeling awkward around me. She left early and returned late each day. I was quite content with the peace and quiet. With the college entrance exam next semester, I poured all my focus into my studies, locking myself in my room all day. Ryan Su, worried I'd fall ill from isolation, invited me to walk the dogs together. I didn't refuse. I miss Jelly Bean and First May a lot. And of course, MS, Claire Wing too, the only person who treated me with genuine sincerity in my past life. She was a lawyer, formidable in court, but in daily life, an incredibly endearing person. MS, Claire Wing had the gentlest eyes. When she called my name, her voice was especially soothing. She had a particular fondness for desserts. Every time I visited the Su family, I'd bring homemade pastries. She'd finish them with pure delight, then hug me tightly and refuse to let go. Xiaofan, why couldn't you have been my daughter? Yeah, why couldn't I? What a pity. This time, Mr. Su happened to be home. Seeing us cling to each other again, he chuckled and suggested, why not just adopt her as your goddaughter? MS. Claire Wing looked at me and began to consider it seriously. No way. Ryan Su, who was grooming Jelly Bean, suddenly spoke up. I don't want another younger sister. Stingy. Feeling a knot in my chest, I secretly gave First Mate an order. Bite him. First Mate dashed over, only to obediently lie down beside Ryan Su. So frustrating. The earlier topic didn't continue. As dusk fell, it was time for me to head home. Ryan Su offered to walk me back. Still upset, I flatly refused and walked off quickly by myself. The chilly wind blew, and I suddenly felt rather ridiculous. Just then, Ryan Sue called. As I was about to answer, someone covered my mouth from behind and dragged me into a small grove by the roadside. I struggled fiercely, scratching the person's hand. When they released me, I saw it was my adoptive mother, Mary Lee. She lunged at me like a madwoman, gripping my neck tightly. My daughter is the true heiress of the Lynn family. Just I. My consciousness began to fade, leaving only Mary Lee's curses ringing in my ears. Then, I faintly heard the sound of a dog barking. Stella Lynn. Just as my vision plunged into complete darkness, Ryan Sue's voice clearly reached my ears. When I woke again, I was in the hospital. Ryan Sue had saved me. Mary Lee was arrested by the police. According to her confession, she had learned she had cancer and discovered her biological daughter had been driven to suicide by me in the Lynn family. That's why she decided to take me down with her. Since this incident involved the truth about Luna Lynn's and my origins, I took the opportunity to inform the police about Mary Lee swapping the babies and the abuse she and her husband inflicted. Originally, I had planned to settle accounts with the Zhengs after the college entrance exams. After all, lawsuits are time-consuming and draining, but now I had no choice but to act earlier. This time, the Lynn family did not interfere. During my hospital stay, they often visited, though each time with peculiar expressions, especially Leo Lynn. Young people can't hide their thoughts, and the word guilty might as well be written on his face. At first, I didn't understand why, until Ryan Sue inadvertently brought it up. The police found out that before the incident, George Zheng and Mary Lee had secretly visited Luna Lynn at the hospital. A suspicion began to form in my mind. On the day I was discharged, the Lynn family came to pick me up. I cut straight to the chase. What did the surveillance footage capture? Luna Lynn probably didn't know that her family, worried she might harm herself again, had installed a hidden camera in her hospital room without telling her. Susan Wei dodged the question, trying to change the subject. I turned to Liam Lynn. Do you remember saying that if Luna Lynn messed up again, you'd personally kick her out? What, going to shield her again now? He sighed softly and finally told the truth. Just as I suspected, Mary Lee tried to kill me because Luna Lynn provoked her. She has cancer and doesn't have long to live. She went to the hospital to visit her daughter. He scolded her for being useless, saying she could give her nothing. Luna Lynn said that if she truly loved her, she should create some value for her biological daughter before dying. As for what kind of value, it goes without saying. Susan Wei flusteredly explained to me. Xiaofan, the doctor said Luna has depressive tendencies and can't control her emotions. You can't take her words seriously. That venomous woman misunderstood it herself. I ignored her and asked Liam Lynn, where's the video? He looked ashamed, destroyed, given her mental state at the time. We truly couldn't determine if it was intentional instigation. I retorted, but you also can't be sure she didn't have such intentions. Can you? Susan Wei stepped forward and grasped my hand, pleading earnestly. Xiaofan, Luna does tend to obsess over things, but she isn't that malicious. You're fine now, and she's still ill. Please don't hold it against her, all right? I lowered my head, my whole body trembling uncontrollably. What if I had died this time? They wouldn't understand how terrified I felt in that moment. Liam Lynn seemed moved, walking silently before me and saying earnestly, consider the video incident as fulfilling the final familial bond between Luna and us. After this, I will send her abroad and never allow her to return to the Lynn family. She's your younger sister, Susan Wei exclaimed in shock. Liam Lynn averted his gaze, refusing to look at her. She then turned to Richard Lynn with a pleading expression. The other man remained stern, faced, and ignored her. Tears welled in Susan Wei's eyes. But I've been her mother for 18 years. She's the flesh of my heart. Seeing no reaction from the others, she turned to beg me, Xiaofan, Luna has never been apart from me since childhood. How will she survive alone overseas? I sneered coldly. Don't worry, she won't need to go abroad. I recorded our earlier conversation. I'll report Luna's situation to the police. Let them determine whether it was intentional or accidental. If you don't want trouble, You'd better voluntarily confess to the police about destroying evidence. Everyone was stunned, speechless. Susan Wei looked incredulous. How can you be so heartless? You're nothing like me. I replied with detached calm. Indeed, after all, I wasn't the one raised by your side. She seemed to crumble. You're always so cold and unyielding. I can never reach your heart or understand what you're thinking. I often wonder if it would have been better for everyone if you'd never returned to the Lin family. The words left unfinished last time were finally spoken. I watched her silently. Tears streamed down her face. You must be so disappointed in me that your own mother could say such callous things. I shook my head. No. How can there be disappointment when there were never any expectations? The room fell into a terrifying silence. Suddenly, a firm and powerful voice shattered the stillness. Since the Lin family doesn't welcome her, from now on she'll be part of the Su family. Claire Wang strode in and pulled me into an embrace. Richard Lin stepped forward. Madam Su, this is a Lin family matter. MS. Claire Wang ignored him, patted my head, and asked softly, Stella, would you like to come home with Aunt Claire? Her embrace was simply too warm, and I was simply too exhausted. I nodded almost without thinking and said, okay. I was taken to the Su household, initially feeling a bit uneasy. I had agreed in a moment of impulse, without considering whether it might cause trouble for others. I cautiously observed for a few days. Uncle Su was an ultimate love. Struck romantic, the phrase he said most often every day was, my wife is right. Aunt Claire liked me. He loved me by extension, his gaze always radiating affectionate warmth. Since I was relatively familiar with Ryan Su, I asked him directly, does it make you uncomfortable that I moved into your home without prior notice? He tapped my head in frustration. Stella Lin, are you deaf or blind? That day, it was my mom and I who went to the hospital to bring you home together. I thought back for a long time. It finally dawned on me. When confronted my parents, this guy had already packed my luggage for me, TCH, and he claims he doesn't want to acknowledge me as his younger sister. So stubborn. I curved my lips into a smile, feeling a sweet warmth in my heart. New Year's Eve is just around the corner. Liam Lin came to the Su residence to find me, urging me to come home for the holidays. He said the whole family misses me dearly. I nearly laughed out loud. Aren't you afraid I'll go back and infuriate MS? Way to death. He sighed deeply. Mom said those things in the heat of anger. Ever since you've been away, she's been staring blankly at your room every day. Sometimes when there's noise outside, she thinks it's you coming back and rushes out anxiously. My eyes widened. Are you sure she wasn't waiting for Luna Lin? Liam Lin frowned. Xiaofan, don't be like this. You're still a Lin by blood. After all, Ryan Su chimed in from the side. Blood ties seem to be the least important thing in your family, don't they? Ignoring him, Liam Lin advised me earnestly, you have no relation to the Zus. Staying here is highly improper. Ryan Su said with a teasing grin. What a coincidence, isn't it? Blood relations are the least important thing in my family. Uncle Su and Aunt Ching stood at the doorway, secretly giving him a thumbs up. In the end, I didn't go back with Liam Lin. Call me selfish or shameless if you will. I wanted to stay here, even if just for one more day. On New Year's Eve, Uncle Su took the whole family to celebrate on a cruise ship. The Su family has long been known as the maritime overlords in wealthy circles, with their entire business empire built on the sea. I heard that celebrating the new year at sea is their family tradition. As night fell, Ryan Su took me to the observation deck to enjoy the view. Looking up, I could see a full moon hanging overhead, as beautiful as a dream. Truth be told, I never liked moon gazing, probably because, in my past life, I often heard people compare me and Luna Lin to stars and the moon. A sky full of bright stars pales in comparison to the brilliance of the moon. Everyone loves the moon. A sky full of stars is my favorite view. Ryan Su suddenly spoke, interrupting my thoughts. I turned my head and met a pair of eyes brimming with starlight. His eyebrows arched, his smile radiating the carefree boldness of youth. I'm going to become the youngest captain in our Su family. Stars are the lighthouses for sailors. How wonderful. There are people in this world who cherish the stars alone. Uncle Sue and Aunt Xing walked over side by side, just in time to hear our conversation. Aunt Xing smiled warmly and said, "In that case, Xingfan truly seems destined to be part of the Sue family. Even her name connects with ours." Uncle Sue nodded in agreement. Then he patted his son on the shoulder and added, "Once you graduate from university, we'll build you your own ship. Then you can take our whole family traveling around the world." Suddenly, remembering their fate, a sharp pain pierced my heart. On Ryan Sue's first voyage, a sudden change in weather led to a shipwreck in the passing sea area. The entire family perished while trying to save others. I looked up at the sky. The Big Dipper hung brilliantly in the heavens, just as it had on the day I died in my past life. I once wondered why I had been reborn. Now, it seems I've found the answer. I will become the starry sky that watches over them. After the new year, my case saw new developments. Without the Lin family's interference this time, the police investigation proceeded smoothly. They found a breakthrough with George Zheng, proving not only that Luna Lin instigated murder, but that it wasn't her first time. Turns out she learned about her true origins earlier than the Lin family did. After contacting her biological parents, she instructed them to find a way to make me disappear from this world. Initially, the Zhengs didn't dare commit murder, so they devised a plan to sell me to an old bachelor in a remote mountain village. Had I not escaped, my fate would have been far more tragic than it is now. Aunt Xing, just like in my previous life, became my representative lawyer. She told me to focus on my studies and leave everything else to her. With the start of the second semester of senior year, I stopped paying attention to the follow-up. Since the attack, Ryan Sue has been shadowing me every day. He even bought a bicycle specifically to ride me to and from school. Rumors about me dating him began to circulate among classmates. This seemed to provoke Aiden Shen, who cornered me in the storage room one day. "Are you with Ryan Sue?" He stood before me, his eyes dark and intense, radiating an intimidating aura. This kind of pressure was not something an 18-year-old boy should possess. I looked up and studied him. He didn't flinch or look away. Seeing I didn't deny it, his expression grew even darker. "You said you only liked me." I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. I did say that, but that was in my past life. So Aiden Shin had also been reborn. I just hadn't expected him to return so early. He told me that a month after I died, he held my ashes and jumped into the sea to follow me in death, only to return to our hardest times at 17. But this time, I didn't save him. I went back to the Lin family alone. He guessed that I had most likely returned as well. "Then why are you acting like nothing happened? Are you planning to deceive me again?" I was unusually furious. Aiden Shun had never been sincere with me. His eyes reddened, his expression pained. "I just wanted to forget the past and start anew with you properly." I found it laughable. "Wasn't Luna Lin your moon? Why, after being reborn, are you Zhou Chun ing me? This mud from the ground?" Aiden Shin swayed slightly, his voice trembling. "So you really saw it that night. Things aren't as you think," he explained to me. I only wanted to humiliate her. Aiden Shin came from a humble background and was repeatedly humiliated by Luna Lin while serving as my study companion in the Lin family. But later, when he achieved success, the once arrogant young lady turned around to fawn over him. So he wanted to play with her emotions. It's utterly absurd. I never knew that the man I once deeply loved was so twisted inside. Aiden Shin grasped my hand, his tone earnest. "There was truly only that one time with her. I don't like her at all. The only one I truly love is you." I shook him off and stepped back. "Don't touch me. You're filthy." He froze completely, his eyes wounded. "I only made one mistake. Is it truly unforgivable?" I looked at him, disappointment in my heart. "Aiden Shin, you simply don't respect me. How could you possibly think I'd still want to be with you after what happened between you and Luna Lin? Did you think you could hide it from me? Or were you so sure I wouldn't leave even if I found out?" His face turned pale, unable to offer an answer. In either case, it wasn't Luna Lin you humiliated. It was me. After saying this, I walked away without looking back. Aiden Shin stood behind me, his entire figure swallowed by the shadows. You can be with someone else, but not for too long. He spoke slowly, his tone flat, yet carrying an indescribable chill. If I had turned back then, I might have realized Aiden Shen was teetering on the edge of madness. But that day, I left too quickly and didn't pay it much mind. After that day, Aiden Shin never approached me on his own again. It was as if that conversation had been nothing but an illusory dream. Leaving no trace behind, we coexisted peacefully, continuing our respective high school lives. For months later, during the college entrance exams, I performed exceptionally well and was admitted to my dream university as hoped. The case against the Zhengs and Lin also reached the trial phase. On the day of the hearing, Ryan Su accompanied me to observe the proceedings, where we coincidentally encountered the Lin family. Susan Wei looked much more haggard and was visibly uneasy upon seeing me. She had been deceiving herself all along, making excuses to justify Luna's actions. Now, with the police evidence laid bare before her, she had no choice but to admit that she had raised a malicious and wicked child. This realization nearly shattered her. We entered the courtroom together. Luna Lin and her parents were brought in, shackled. The moment the judge declared them guilty, Luna suddenly went berserk, breaking free from the bailiffs and charging at me, screaming curses. "You bitch. It's all your fault. You ruined me. Why don't you just die?" Susan Wei swiftly pulled me into her arms. She hadn't given me many hugs. The first time was when we first met. The second was now. I stepped back and said calmly, "Mrs. Lin, I'm fine." Her face paled, and she stumbled, steadied by Leo Lin. Luna Lin was taken away by the bailiff. No matter how she pleaded or cried out, Susan Wei didn't glance her way again. Aunt Ching gathered the documents, came down from the court, and led me away. She didn't take me home, but instead brought me to the hospital. The bad people have been punished. She gently stroked my back, smiling tenderly. Xiao Fan doesn't need to keep these scars anymore. Yeah, painful memories were erased along with the old wounds. I needed to move forward. Time flew by, and I was soon turning 19. The Lin family came to ask me to return once more. This time, everyone was present except Susan Wei, who was bedridden. Aunt Ching didn't let me go downstairs, handling their reception alone. Richard Lin sat in the living room, speaking formally. "My daughter has troubled you for too long. It's time she return home." Aunt Ching poured tea for him, smiling. "How could it be trouble? Our whole family adores Xiao Fan. Especially me. I've always wished for a daughter, but unfortunately, my health wouldn't allow it. Now that Xiao Fan is here, it's like she's cured my heart's longing. For that, I must thank you and Mrs. Lin." Richard Lin looked stumped and gulped down a mouthful of tea. Liam Lin took over. "My younger sister's birthday is coming up, and we're here to take her back for a proper celebration." Leo Lin stayed silent, merely nodding in agreement. Aunt Ching waved her hand. "I can arrange the birthday banquet. I heard Mrs. Lin is unwell. Wouldn't taking Xiao Fan back now just add to her burdens?" Seeing the grim expressions on the other side, she seemed quite pleased. She added half, jokingly, "Worried? Afraid I might play favorites and combine her birthday with my son's celebration?" The back and forth went on for over half an hour. Richard Lin took a phone call, and the group suddenly left in a hurry. Ryan Su secretly told me that Uncle Su had once again detained the Lin family's goods at the dock. This wasn't the first time it had happened. I heard the Lin family had already lost several business deals due to delayed deliveries. Ryan explained to me, "My dad says the Lin family has poor judgment. They can't tell good from bad, so their goods need extra careful inspection to avoid trouble." I knew Uncle Su was just doing it to stand up for me. A warm feeling flowed through my heart. Tears welled up in my eyes. Much to my own embarrassment, Ryan teased me. "Moved already? You're way too easy to please." I glared at him, then felt a bit uneasy. "Why are you all so good to me?" He raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Because Stella Lin is just so likable." My heart inexplicably skipped a beat. I stared at him without blinking, completely forgetting to even blink. Visibly flustered, Ryan changed the subject. "Your birthday is coming up soon. What gift would you like?" I tried to relax and joked. Want your parents? Will you give them to me? He tilted his head and answered very softly, okay. I was about to ask, so you're willing to accept me as your younger sister? But then I noticed his earlobes were flushed so red they seemed about to bleed. A sudden electric thrill shot through my entire body, leaving me tingling and numb. My mind went blank, completely short-circuited. Ryan Sue turned his head to look at me. As our eyes met, the air around us seemed to grow scorching hot. We both averted our gazes, hiding our flustered expressions. Yet in the quiet space, our heartbeats thundered like drums, growing ever more distinct. I took a breath and ventured directly. So, are you planning to accept me as your younger sister? Ryan Sue denied it. You don't have to be a younger sister to be family. I met his gaze. His obsidian, like eyes, shimmered with scattered light. Those glimmers converged into a play of light and shadow. Within them, I saw myself. A quiet joy crept into my heart. Ryan Sue's voice was like a gentle breeze skimming across a lake, stirring ripples in its wake. He said earnestly, Stella Lynn, I like you. Ryan Sue and I got together. We enrolled in different universities to pursue our respective preferred majors. In this lifetime, I chose the navigation engineering major. Ryan Sue once asked me why I was interested in this field. I told him about a lecture I had once attended. 20,000 kilometers away, there are stars that neither glow nor radiate heat. Invisible to the naked eye, they hang above us like guardian deities, precisely providing positioning services. He caught on. The Beidou navigation satellite system? I nodded. In the future, I want to join that team. You once said that stars are lighthouses for navigators. Ryan Sue looked at me, the corners of his lips gradually lifting. So, you're doing this for me? I thought for a moment and replied seriously, not entirely. Protecting the Sue family has always been my original intention. For this purpose, I gathered extensive materials about shipwrecks, countless families shattered by such disasters. Gazing at the star-filled sky, I said sincerely, I hope all who journey far can find their way home. Ryan Sue drew me into his embrace, his tone brimming with pride. That's a magnificent dream. We smiled at each other. Ryan Sue's school was very close to mine. After the semester began, he often came to keep me company. During intense study periods, we'd hole up together in the library. In our free time, we'd catch a movie or simply stroll hand in hand along campus paths beneath the setting sun. Like all couples, we supported and accompanied each other, gradually mapping out our shared future. If only Aiden Shin weren't in the picture. Everything was almost impossibly perfect. Aiden Shin attended the same university as me. Whenever I was with Ryan Sue, we'd frequently cross paths with him. He never did anything, but without fail, the next day I'd receive a bouquet of baby's breath with a numbered card attached. Each time, I immediately tossed those flowers into the trash, so I never noticed he was counting down. The day the number reached 0 coincided with the date of the Sue family's fatal shipwreck in my previous life. Only then did I notice that the numbers on each card, when viewed together, resembled a countdown. In my junior year, thanks to my excellent grades, I joined my mentor in developing the Beidou navigation satellite system. After graduation, I directly entered the Beidou team and became a core member. Ryan Sue personally designed and built his first luxury cruise ship, naming it the Starlight Cruise. On the day the cruise ship was completed, he proposed to me. I said yes, unexpectedly. From that day on, I began receiving a bouquet of baby's breath every day. At the time, the Beidou system was undergoing updates, and I was too busy with work to deal with the flowers. So, the security guard collected them for me. A week later, the upgrade work was completed. The guard returned the flowers to me and asked curiously, "Is there an important date coming up?" Only then did I realize that when connected, the numbers on each card resembled a countdown. The last bouquet had just arrived. The card displayed a glaring number 1. A cold sweat broke out all over me. Tomorrow, when the countdown hit 0, was supposed to be the day of Ryan Sue's cruise ship trial voyage. The day the Sue family would meet with a shipwreck. But in this lifetime, I had found a reason to postpone the date. By all logic, everyone should have been safe. Yet, for some reason, An ominous premonition lingered in my heart. Worried that Aiden Shen might do something drastic, I hurried home, but I never expected that on that day, the one to meet with an accident would be me. I was kidnapped. When I woke up, I saw someone I had almost forgotten. Luna Lin was out of prison. She had changed a lot, sallow and emaciated, weathered beyond her years as a woman, just past 20. She locked me in a basement. She tied me up tightly, her gaze wild as she looked at me. Stella Lin, you ruined me, and now you'll pay the price. What do you plan to do? I asked. She bared her teeth in a chilling grin. You got me 4 years in prison, so I prepare this place for you. You'll live here from now on, until the day you die. I glanced around. No windows, only a dim, incandescent bulb casting a pallid glow, making the whole place cold, cramped, and suffused with stale air. What you're doing is illegal. Do you really want to go back to prison? Fear didn't show on her face. Instead, she lowered her brows with a coy shyness. Aiden will protect me. Hearing that name, I shuddered from head to toe. Somehow, these two had become entangled again. I tried to buy time. Where's Aiden Shen? I need to talk to him. The woman across from me jerked her head up, suddenly seizing my throat like a madwoman. Why are you looking for him? Are you trying to steal him from me again? First it was the Lin family. Now it's Aiden. You just want to take everything from me. The basement door swung open, and a cold voice cut through abruptly. Stop. Aiden Shen walked in, dressed in a crisp suit in gold, rimmed glasses, every inch the corporate elite. Leveraging his rebirth advantage, he achieved fame and success in this life, even without the resources I once provided. Luna Lin hurriedly stood up, smoothing her hair. Aiden. He ignored her, his gaze fixed directly on me in the corner. I asked warily, why are you with her? Without answering, he leisurely picked up a sturdy wooden stick from the corner, strolled over to Luna Lin, and suddenly struck her head with force. A look of shock crossed Luna Lin's face as she touched the blood seeping from the back of her head before collapsing unconscious. Aiden Shin tossed the bloodied stick aside and elegantly pulled out a handkerchief to wipe his hands. Then he crouched down and said calmly, "She wanted to kidnap you. I just helped out. Other than that, we have no connection whatsoever. Don't misunderstand." I stared at him, a chill running down my spine. Aiden Shin, are you insane? You're committing a crime right now. His eyes flickered, a look of delight spreading across his face. You're worried about me? Don't worry. Luna Lin handled everything. It won't lead back to me. As he spoke, he loosened the ropes binding me and carefully patted my wrists with cotton. I should thank her for bringing you back to me. It saved me a lot of trouble. His demeanor frightened me. What exactly are you trying to do? Aiden Shin held me close, his voice low and hoarse with a touch of morbid obsession. I made mistakes before, and I deserve to be punished. So I allowed you to be willful for a long time, watching you be with someone else. But I also warned you, don't make me wait too long. Aiden Shin locked Luna Lin in the basement. He carried me out, back into the light of day. We were on a remote island. Aiden Shin had built a house here, facing the sea. The hills behind were covered in vast fields of baby's breath. Do you like it? He asked me. You once said you wanted to live in a place like this. Just the two of us, far from the noise of the world. I didn't dare provoke him, replying tactfully, that was in my past life. In this life, I prefer liveliness. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. We can have more children. Every hair on my body stood on end as I tried to reason with him. The police will come looking for me. No matter how meticulous your plan is, there will be traces. One day they will find me. When that happens, your reputation, status, everything you've worked so hard to build, all ruined. Is it really worth it? Aiden Shun buried his face in my neck, smiling faintly. As long as the family gives up. How long do you think the police will persist? I know the Lin family best. They're all very forgetful. They'll just put on a show for a while at most. As for the Su family, after today, they won't be looking for you either. My breath caught, and I was completely enveloped in fear. On this day in my past life, Ryan Su, Aunt Ching, and Uncle Su all died. I struggled desperately. What exactly are you planning to do? Aiden Shin took me up an abandoned lighthouse, where a telescope was set up. Through the lens, I could see the distant sea. A thick fog was rolling in, and, faintly, a ship sailed within it. "They've gone to fetch you." Aiden Chen's cold lips pressed against my ear, enunciating each word. "You know very well how this ends. This madman used me as bait, luring them to the very waters where the shipwreck happened in my past life." He looked at me, smiling with particular cruelty. "Xiaofan, I warned you so many times. If you'd left Ryan Su sooner, he wouldn't have had to die." I collapsed to the ground, overwhelmed by boundless despair. "You'll behave from now on." He crouched down to help me up. I bit his hand, shoved him aside, and rushed to the railing, swinging one leg over. "Call them back, or I'll jump from here." A flicker of panic crossed Aiden Chen's eyes as he said sternly, "Come here." I ignored him, leaning further out. "If they die, I'll die with them." The dilapidated guardrail, corroded and shaky, threatened to plunge me into the deep sea with the slightest misstep. The person opposite dared not make a reckless move. We remained locked in this stalemate. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke. "The Su family ship has entered international waters and can no longer be contacted." Aiden Shen initially intended for me to wait indoors. I calmed down. "It's true," I thought. "After all, many circumstances in this life differ from the previous one. The Beidou system has just completed its upgrade iteration, boasting even more powerful capabilities. This time, it might guide them through that disaster. Perhaps it's best to leave it to fate. If Ryan Su returns alive, I'll let you go. If he dies, you'll stay obediently by my side." He gazed at me, his eyes profound. "Will you gamble with me?" I didn't refuse. After all, if I lose the bet, I can break the promise. Who can stop someone who wishes to die? Aiden Chen originally intended for me to wait inside the house, but I refused. I kept watch on the lighthouse all night. He stayed by my side without leaving for a moment. The sky gradually brightened, and the heavy fog dispersed. Gazing at the horizon where the sea met the sky, Aiden Chen suddenly grew sentimental. I thought heaven granted me rebirth to give me a chance to make up for the regrets of my past life. His tone was strange, carrying a rather sorrowful note. I steadied my emotions and tried to reason with him. "Aiden, reuniting after a breakup is a plot only found in novels. But for me, a broken mirror can never be fully restored, no matter how it's mended, and I can't close my eyes and pretend the crack isn't there. Then, what meaning does this life of mine truly hold?" He slumped his shoulders, sounding somewhat defeated. I looked up, my tone resolute. "Of course it has meaning. In this lifetime, you've succeeded entirely through your own abilities. That's something to be proud of. You can live well even without me." He looked at me, his expression dejected. "Xiaofan, do you know how hard the road back to your side has been for me?" I gently suggested. "Since it's so hard, why not choose a different path?" He shook his head. "It's too late now. I've done too many wrong things. Do you remember my alcoholic father?" I nodded. He wanted to trap me forever in that poor and filthy urban village. With him around, I couldn't move an inch, let alone make my way to your side. So I had to make him disappear. He smiled faintly, his eyes devoid of any light. I orchestrated his death. Now, every time I close my eyes, I see his waterlogged, wrinkled face. He keeps cursing me, wishing me a terrible death. I was so shocked I couldn't speak for a long time. He suddenly started walking toward me. "What are you doing?" I cried out in alarm. His expression darkened as he murmured softly, "You've won." Then he stepped forward and untied the restraints on my wrists. Coming to my senses, I hurried over to the telescope. A ship was heading toward the island. The stars spanning 20,000 kilometers truly guided my family safely home. "They will come for you." Aiden Chen's voice drifted from afar. I turned my head and saw he had retreated to the guardrail, with the boundless deep sea behind him. He smiled at me and fell straight backward. "If there is an afterlife." The sea wind was too strong. The latter half of his words scattered in the gust, unclear to my ears. Stumbling forward, I saw only a splash of seawater rise, vanishing soundlessly in an instant. In the very end, he kept his promise and let me go. A tear fell as I sincerely prayed. If there is an afterlife, may you find the right path. I was rescued soon after. Luna Lin was also released from the basement, but the trauma led to a mental breakdown, and she will spend the rest of her life in a psychiatric hospital. Aiden Chen's body was recovered. The sudden suicide of the business world's rising star, found with a pair of wedding rings clutched tightly in his hand. The media swarmed at the news. Everyone was speculating about who exactly he wanted to marry. The Sue family had sealed off all information related to me. Life gradually returned to its usual calm. A year later, on Valentine's Day, Ryan Sue and I held our wedding aboard the Starlight Cruise. Uncle Sue and Aunt Ching invited nearly half of the wealthy elite circle. The Lin family was notified the latest. Coincidentally, Leo Lin had just gone abroad for studies at that time. Richard Lin and Susan Wei went to visit him and couldn't make it back before the cruise ship set sail. Liam Lin attended the wedding alone. Truth be told, I wasn't exactly thrilled to see him, but he had learned to be thick-skinned, claiming he brought a wedding gift prepared early by Mr. and Mrs. Lin, a seaside villa and a share transfer agreement. The house was from Dad, and the 15% company shares were from Mom. He made a point to emphasize, that's all she has left. She truly cares for you deeply. Seeing my lack of response, he sighed helplessly. Mom and Dad really wanted to see you in a wedding dress. It's a shame they missed it. I didn't tell him that I had intentionally arranged it this way. Their love arrived too many years late, and I am not a patient person. Make sure to visit home when you have time. I politely declined. We researchers rarely have free time. He had no choice but to compromise. Then, at least post more on your social media feed. It would be good for Mom and Dad to know what you're up to daily. I'll consider it. Liam Lin sighed softly and asked, could you call me brother? You've never called me that since your return home. I took 2 steps back and said politely, thank you for attending my wedding, Director Lin. He was about to say something else when Ryan Sue interrupted. Director Lin, could you help take a photo? Before Liam Lin could react, the camera was thrust into his hands. Help us take a family portrait. Ryan Sue took my hand and led me to the deck. Finding the perfect spot, Uncle Sue and Aunt Ching led First Mate and Jellybean over, standing beside us, under the starry sky, for people and 2 dogs. A particularly beautiful scene. I set this photo as my phone wallpaper and casually posted it to my social media feed. Where the heart finds peace is home, filled only with joy and free from sorrow.